Do you want to know how to break down goals into steps? If so, get ready, because I'm going to share a simple system for how to break goals down into smaller pieces to make any goal manageable. I'm Ross Jacobson, aka The Disciplined Rebel. This channel is all about helping you build self-discipline. I'm going to divide this video into 3 sections. First, I'm going to share a simple system for how to break down goals into steps. Second, I'll give you 3 pro tips to keep in mind when breaking down your goals. And finally, I will answer 2 frequently asked questions on how to break down goals into steps. Section 1. How to break down goals into steps. A simple system. Here's my system for how to break down goals into smaller pieces. Keep in mind these are general guidelines. You're welcome to adjust things as needed based on your specific goals and preferences. Number 1. Define your goal. First, clearly define the goal you want to focus on. The more specific your goal is, the better. Number 2. Determine what you need to do to accomplish the goal. At a high level, figure out what is necessary to reach your objective. Depending on your specific goal, this could mean watching how-to videos, asking someone for advice, or something more formal, like taking a training course. Keep in mind, you don't need to figure out everything at this stage. It's just enough to get started. More on that later. Number 3. Divide your goal into high-level sub-goals. Now, take your goal and write down what you need to do to accomplish it. Let's say your goal is to find a job in programming. You might come up with the following high-level sub-goals. Prepare a resume, search for relevant programming jobs, apply to jobs, prepare for interviews, and if offered, decide if you want to accept. Note, if you need substantial training or research to get going with your goal, then I suggest including that as 1 or more sub-goals in your list. Number 4. Break the first sub-goal into smaller, actionable steps. For now, just focus on the first high-level sub-goal on your list, and break things down into smaller pieces. The tinier and more specific you can get them, the better. That's because smaller means it's less intimidating, and specific means it's easier to execute. Continuing with the previous example of finding a programming job, here's how you might divide up the first sub-goal of preparing your resume. Find old resume. Add school major and dates for latest degree earned. Note summer internship employer and dates. Write responsibilities under internship section, and update skills in the skills section. Keep in mind, this is just an example. It isn't meant to reflect how you would go about this in your own situation. After writing things out, if any of the steps are still intimidating, see if there's a way to divide them out even further. Number 5. Plan when to do the first step. Next, decide when you're going to execute the first step in your list. You have 2 options. A. Execute it right away, or B. Note when you plan to do it. When possible, it can be very helpful to knock it off immediately to create some momentum. But understandably, that's not always doable. Number 6. Execute, repeat, and adjust as needed. Finally, it's time to execute your game plan, and then repeat everything discussed for the remaining steps in your list. If needed, don't be afraid to make adjustments along the way. Sometimes once you start working towards your goal, you learn new things. And that new knowledge might require you to add new steps, eliminate old steps, or even change direction entirely. These kind of adjustments are expected and are perfectly fine to make. Section 2. 3 pro tips to keep in mind when breaking down your goals. Here are 3 tips for how to break down goals into steps, which are very important to factor in. Pro tip number 1. Make sure the steps are small enough. Making steps small reduces the risk of getting overwhelmed or burning out. Small steps increase the chance you form habits, build momentum, and ultimately stick with your goal. Breaking down goals into small pieces also makes it easier to prioritize those tasks within your overall schedule. Exactly how small is going to depend on your specific goal and preferences. More on that later. Pro tip number 2. You don't have to plan out everything ahead of time. In the past, I used to spend a ton of time procrastinating things. One of the biggest causes was that I felt like I needed to have everything figured out to get started. Of course, there are times you truly do need to have a perfect understanding of things to get going, like if safety is involved. And some degree of planning can definitely help make the process more efficient. But in 90% of situations, I found I can usually get started on something even if I don't have things 100% planned out. Getting started and learning as you go has a few advantages. First, it prevents procrastination. Second, you often learn more by doing than you ever could by planning alone. And third, it creates momentum, which can give you the confidence to keep pursuing your goal. Once you reach a point where you can't progress any further, then you can do additional research and plan out the remaining steps. If you want more on how to stop procrastinating, check out my video on how to stop putting off work. Link in the description. Pro tip number 3. Batch tasks when able. Some productivity studies suggest it may be more efficient to do similar tasks in the same time frame. For instance, in the prepare resume example discussed earlier, perhaps you do the following steps back to back. Write responsibilities under internship section, and update skills in the skills section. This can be more efficient because thinking about your internship responsibilities might spark some ideas for skills to add. That said, you don't want to overbatch. If you put too much on your plate, it increases the chances you will procrastinate things or get overwhelmed. Section 3. 2 frequently asked questions for how to break down goals into steps. Finally, here are my answers to 2 questions I get asked a lot when it comes to breaking down goals into smaller tasks. Frequently asked question number 1. For goals that don't have an endpoint, like exercising, do I have to write down every step forever? The answer is not necessarily. Once you've repeated the steps many times, they'll become wired into your brain as habits. At that point, you have a few options. Continue to write every step down, just to make sure you don't miss anything. Don't write anything down if you're 100% sure you have a habit firmly established. Or only write down the higher level sub-goals. A balanced approach where you stop writing down every detail. The latter is a strategy I use frequently. At first, I write down every small step, but every several weeks, I reassess how things are going. And if I find myself naturally completing steps without even having to look at what I've written, I start to roll those little steps up and just write down the higher level sub-goals. Frequently asked question number 2. How long should each step take? There is no exact amount of time each step needs to be. It's going to vary. But here's the rule of thumb. When you are first starting out, the smaller, the better. Also, if you struggle with procrastination, it's even more important to err on the smaller side. That's because the smaller the steps are, the less intimidating they are to get started with. Personally, for a new goal, I like each step to be roughly a maximum of an hour, but usually 30 minutes or less, and sometimes as small as 1 to 5 minutes. But these aren't hard rules by any means. And as I mentioned earlier, as things become habits, you may decide to just plan out the higher level sub-goals, and those will likely take up larger blocks of time. If you are new, make sure to subscribe to learn more about building self-discipline and achieving your goals. Also, if you want a cheat sheet for this video, you can get that if you sign up for my newsletter. Link in the description. Thanks for watching, and best of luck in your journey to build self-discipline.